Hi there, second grade scholars. Miss Chappell here. Today, we're going to listen to a story called The Empty Pot. While I am reading the story, I want you to use the sticky note in the Cami app to jot down any important moment from the story. You can always go back and re-listen to the story at any time. Let's go ahead and get started. The Empty Pot is retold by Betty Yee and illustrated by Jin Woo Kim. Let's look at the glossary to see what new vocabulary word we are going to come across. Boiled, heated in a liquid that has become hot enough to bubble. Emperor, a man who rules a group of countries. Empty, not holding anything. Honest, truthful. Pleased, happy. Sprout, come out of a seed and begin to grow. In this story, I want you thinking about what lesson the main character Chen learns. A long time ago, there was a boy named Chen. He lived in China with his mother. They lived in a house full of beautiful flowers and other plants from their garden. The emperor of China was a very old man. He didn't have any children. He worried about who would become the next emperor. The emperor decided to choose the next emperor from among the children of his country. He told his people, "I will give a flower seed to every child. In a year's time, come back to the palace with your pots." Chen carefully planted his seed in a little clay pot and gave it water. Days passed, but the little seed didn't sprout. Chen moved the seed into a bigger, nicer pot. He placed the pot in the sunniest corner of his garden. Weeks passed, but the little seed didn't sprout. Chen looked really disappointed here. I wonder why the seed is not growing. Chen carried his pot to a well with fresh water. Months passed, but the little seed didn't sprout. Now that's really strange. It's now been months, and still nothing has grown. He kept his pet cricket next to the pot. He wanted the seed to hear the cricket's sweet sound. Seasons passed, but the little seed still didn't sprout. A year passed. It was time to bring the pot back to the emperor's palace. Chen was sad. His seed hadn't sprouted at all. His mother found him crying in the garden. "You did your best," she said. "Bring your pot to the emperor and tell him what happened." Children came to the emperor's palace with their pots full of flowers. Chen looked down sadly at his empty pot. So the other children didn't seem to have any trouble growing their seed. The emperor walked slowly through the crowd of children and flowers. Something was wrong. The emperor didn't look pleased. At last he came to Chen and his empty pot. "What's this?" the emperor demanded. "Why is your pot empty?" Chen said, "I'm sorry. I put the seed in a pot. I moved it into a bigger, fancier pot. I made sure it had sunlight. I gave it the freshest water. I even let my cricket keep it company at night. No matter what I did, it wouldn't grow. I tried my best." Suddenly, to Chen's surprise, the emperor shouted, "I found the next emperor! I don't know how the rest of you grew your flowers. The seeds I gave out were boiled. They could have never grown. But this child was honest and used his best effort to try to grow the seed." So that means none of the seeds could technically have grown. So all these children who brought flowers, they weren't being honest. Chen and his mother went to live in the palace. The emperor and Chen worked in the palace garden together. When the emperor died, Chen became emperor. He cared for China just as he had always cared for his own garden. The end. All right, second grade scholars. Now, using your post-it notes, I want you to jot down some of the important events that happened in the story. I would love to see in your post-it note some of the evidence that will help us answer the question, what lesson does Chen learn? All right, scholars, good luck.